So hi and welcome back to the Sustainable Agriculture Workshop hosted by Andrew College. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Neal Leonard, who is from the USDA Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coordinators, and he's a coordinator for Georgia. And today he's going to go through some of the farming programs that are available to us in Georgia. So welcome, Neal.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be on board with you all this morning to talk about the USDA Farm Service Agency programs. I do bring you greetings from the Georgia FSA State Office. Our State Executive Director is Mr. Arthur Tripp. He's our State Executive Director for the Farm Service Agency. And as Adam mentioned, I am the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coordinator for Georgia USDA. So welcome.
Nice. Sounds good. And I know you prepared us a presentation, so I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. This morning, we have the PowerPoint presentation, and we will be doing an overview of the Farm Service Agency programs with the Beginning Farmer and Rancher program that we have, that USDA have. We have other agencies that is part of Beginning Farmer and Rancher program, which is Natural Resource Conservation Service, Rural Development, and the Risk Management agencies, right along with FSA. However, I'm an FSA employee, and so I'll be sharing with you the programs that we have with Farm Service Agency. I will be talking about farm programs and farm loans and giving you an overview. The first slide, I do have this PowerPoint that I'll be using as a guide this morning in giving the overview. We're going to start with the Farm Service Agency farm programs. And we have a number of programs out there for our farmers and our landowners. And those programs going to fall under farm programs or farm loans. And then there are even more brackets that we have. This first one here is a safety net disaster program. So with Farm Service Agency, one of the things that we do have, and oftentimes you will see it in the media, especially even in the national media, after oftentimes when natural disasters hit the country, you'll often see a lot of media covering those natural disasters. And then a lot of times, in turn with FSA, we get a lot of publicity with these programs: the Livestock Forage program, the Livestock Indemnity program, Emergency Assistance for Livestock, Honeybees, Farm Rate Catfish, Tree Assistance Program, the Noninsured Crop Assistance Program, and the Wildfire Hurricane Indemnity. All of these programs are really around when we have natural disasters in our country. These programs become available. I will go on and say with these programs, for the most part, for livestock producers, programs that we have for livestock producers, most of those fall up under the disaster programs that we have. So right along with the other programs that's available with these programs. And I will say, and just want to mention, with these programs, you have to keep stay informed. Some of these programs is administered. We have to have a disaster declaration a presidential or secretarial disaster declaration for those programs to be implemented. And there are some that we don't have to have disaster declarations, but just wanted to go ahead and mention that we do have a safety net disaster programs. And now in looking at that safety net, and simply being said, you know, these programs are designed for our farmers to maintain their operations even after natural disasters happen. So we want to keep our farmers in business. And so when these natural disasters hit, these programs are designed to help those farmers in their time of loss so they can sustain, so they can keep farming. So that safety net, so to speak, for those producers. There are other programs, safety net programs, the agricultural risk coverage program, the price loss coverage program. These programs, this particular program, and I just want to mention this, it has to do with our row crops, or our those programs. This particular program has been around for a number of years. It's just that it had a different name for the program. But this particular program in time past dealt with row crops, our corn, wheat, cotton, peanuts, those particular crops. And those with that particular program in time past dealt with cropping history, and with the cropping history you develop base acres, and once that base acres was developed on that farm, well, farmers can actually get payments each year off those base acres. And so this particular program that we've had it under a couple of farm bills now, but it is a safety net program, as well as the organic certification cost share program. That's been around for a couple of years now to assist those organic producers in the cost that they incur having an organic farming operation. They can get some cost sharing with that as well. And then for the most part, with any of our farmers, they definitely need to make an acreage report. So that's very important with any of our programs, farm loans. That's one of the first things that we need producers to do, is to come in and provide an acreage report. But again, these are programs, safety net programs. Conservation programs, that's a big part with Farm Service Agency. We often work with Natural Resource Conservation Service in implementing these programs. We got conservation reserve programs. That's been around for a number of years now. Adam, I've been with the agency over 30 years, and I do believe, yes, CRP been in existence since I've been on board.
Oh, wow.
Yes, CRP. In matter of fact, we had a general sign up earlier this year, and we do have a grassland sign up. The grassland CRP is fairly new. That sign up is going on now. And actually, for those producers who's interested in the grassland CRP, have until mid-May to to sign up for that. ECP conservation, that program has been around over 30 years as well. That is a disaster type program, but it is considered conservation. EFRP, Emergency Forestry Restoration Program, it hasn't been around as long as the other two. And so those landowners that have forestry acres, and when a natural disaster come and hit and, you know, cause damage to the forest land, we can assist in restoring those acres. So there are a number of programs that we have. Conservation programs is one. Price support. These programs, oftentimes with farmers, when they sell their commodities, you know, a lot of times the prices may not be the best for those farmers in trying to get a return on their commodities so they can be able to pay the bills and be able to, like all of us, you know, want enough to be able to live. So right. Unfortunately, a lot of times the price is not the best at harvest time. And so these different programs that we have here is a price support to say, okay, you know, we got these programs designed to help them, I would like to say, maintain a floor so it just don't bottom out. So we have those, the marketing assistant loans been around for a number of years, loan deficiency payments as well, the dairy margin coverage program for dairy producers, dairy indemnity payment program, DIP, that's for when a natural disaster may hit and have loss of dairy, might have died for some reason for a natural disaster. These programs will assist those dairy producers that had livestock might have died due to natural disaster, and the deaths are above the normal mortality rate for the producers. So farm store facility loan, that program has come about in recent years. Back when I was in the county office, we did a lot of grain bins with this particular program, but now we have expanded that to include freezer storage facilities, trucks, freezer trucks. You know, there's a number of things that we have included with the farm store facility loan to help those producers as well. And so sort of going back, recapping with the farm program side, we have safety net programs, we got conservation programs, we got price support programs. And I will say for the most part right now, Adam, these are programs that's in the farm bill. And I'm gonna sort of pause, okay? These are programs that's in the farm bill. Really and truly, with the presentation today, just want to cover those programs because those programs, we know they will exist during the time of the farm bill.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, here in recent years, with disaster programs, with COVID, the pandemic, there has been other appropriations that Congress had approved, and with these appropriations came funding. And with the funding, we had programs that came out of that funding. Now, the thing is, what's key to that though, is that you gotta watch the sign-up period for these particular programs, because once those sign-up periods are over, that program don't exist anymore.
Okay.
Yes, so we do have other programs that came out of other appropriations, but see, those programs don't exist during the sign-up period. Now, these programs that we have now is in the Farm Bill. And see, the Farm Bill usually lasts, what, 4 or 5 years with the Farm Bill. So want to go over those programs that we know we have right now. So just want to go ahead and say for our producers out there, I will first say hit that farmers.gov. That's a fairly new, still new website, public website, where there's a lot of information on there, and you can keep up with those appropriations and those programs coming out. For FSA right now, Neal Leonard speaking, I feel comfortable speaking about the programs under the Farm Bill because we know those going to exist during the time of the Farm Bill. This next slide, visiting FSA county office, that's one of the things that we try to emphasize with our beginning farmers and them getting started on what they need to do when they first come into the county office. And I know with the pandemic, you know, oftentimes, and things are starting to open back up where producers can come into the office, but definitely still make you an appointment to go in if you're a new producer. And I will just say that if you got land, if you're leasing land or land that you have purchased, when you're first time coming in, if you land that you maybe own or might have purchased or inherited, if you come into the office with a deed showing you own the land with a plaque with the boundaries, this is some basic information that you can bring in right along with other information that we would definitely need. And I think on one of the slides on down, we would see that. So we can get you in our name and address file and get the farm records started on you, so we can get you a farm serial number. You would definitely need a farm serial number if you want to apply for any of our programs. And even with some of the other sister agencies, you're going to need a farm serial number. And so when you first come in, that was one of the things that you would want to do. If you're leasing land, if you can come in with a lease agreement, then we can get your name attached to that particular farm, so we can get you tied to a farm serial number.
Okay.
Basic information needed: contact information, tax identification number, farm operating structure, adjusted gross income to ensure eligibility, direct deposit to enable payment processing. These are some of the basic information you would need. And again, it didn't mention about the deed and the plaque, but I did mention it here. That's some of the basic information that we would need for those producers who first come into the county office, so we can get your name and information. I just simply say tied to a farm for the farm serial number. There may be instances where the land that you have, land that you may purchase, or land that you may lease may already have a farm serial number. We may need to just attach your name to that farm. Then again, it may be very new land that you've purchased, then we may have to create a farm serial number. And that's why you would need that deed and that plaque. So you can show, hey, look, I own this land and here are the boundaries to that land. So that's some of the key information that we would need when you first come in. And gonna switch up a little bit. I know that even the PowerPoint presentation even changed a little bit, but yeah, I thought I'd switch it up a little bit. and talk about farm loan now. And there's some basic information with the types of loans that we have. We have operating loans, we got youth loan, ownership loan, and micro loans. And let me just say, even with this slide, with farm service agency, we have direct loans and we have guaranteed loans. The direct loans are those loans that farm service agency make, okay? Guaranteed loans are loans that the banks and other lending institutions, they make the loan and we guarantee them a certain portion of the loan. Basically, if the loan for some reason go bad, then we guarantee the lending institutions a certain percentage of that loan.
Okay.
But I would talk about a little bit about the direct loans. And for the most part, we have operating loans and we have ownership loans. Now, even with our fact sheets, and if you go online, and you will see information for veterans, for beginning farmers, even with the micro loans and the youth loans that we see on here. But we have two basic loans: operating loans, ownership loans, okay? And so we do have policies and procedures to address certain audiences. And we may allocate funding for those audiences, for veterans, for beginning farmers, for limited resource producers, socially disadvantaged producers. We have funding allocated for those audiences. But for the most part, we have operating loans and ownership loans. For our beginning farmers and ranchers, one of the things that I definitely have to, oftentimes speaking with the beginning farmers and ranchers who wanting to get started, for an ownership loan, a producer has to show us 3 years of experience in whatever operation or enterprise that they are proposing. For an ownership loan, you got to have at least 3 years experience in that type of enterprise or that type of operation, whatever you plan on growing or whatever livestock you plan on raising. To do an ownership loan, we want to know that you have the knowledge and understanding, for an ownership loan. Now, an operating loan is only 1 year experience. Yes. And that's a lot of times, Adam, when beginning farmers come in and they say, hey, want to get started. But now if they're talking about purchasing land, that's what we require. Now, with some of our guaranteed lenders and other banks and all, their requirements might be the same as ours. But that's what we require on an ownership loan. And you see, we go up to 600,000 for ownership, and for operating loan, 400,000. And the youth loans, that's popular. That youth loan is just basically designed, for youth to have a project, to give them an opportunity to say, hey, look, is farming something that I may want to do, once they get an adult and get out on their own. So we do have those youth loans. And then we have a micro loan that's $50,000 or less. And let me just simply say that the eligibility requirements for the micro loan aren't as stringent as it is for a regular ownership operating loan. So the requirements for that aren't as stringent with the micro loan. So and you can get an ownership loan or a operating loan under the micro loan. But again, we got operating loan, we got ownership loans. So you know, there's policies and procedures that we have to assist those different audiences, whether it's funds being allocated for those audiences, or whether it's, like I said, a micro loan or a youth loan. But, and I mentioned about the guaranteed loans. Eligibility for guaranteed loans is a lot more than what we have for direct loans. And then the down payment loan, we also have that as well.
So I have a question, Neal. So for the operating and the ownership loans, right? Could that money be used to buy land?
Under the operating loan?
Yeah, and the ownership loans.
Yeah, the ownership loan is to purchase land.
Okay.
Yes, that's to purchase the land. Good question. And then the operating loan is all of those things, basically those things that you would need to plant that crop, to raise that crop and harvest that crop.
Okay.
You know, from A to Z, as far as, you know, but that ownership is to purchase the land.
Okay.
Yes. Operating loan can be used to purchase equipment, livestock, production expenses, refinance operating expenses. Operating loans can be repaid in 1 to 7 years. Limit is $400,000. Ownership loans. Ownership loans can be used to pay for land purchase, capital improvement, soil and water conservation, loan closing, and related expenses. I will say, and they had it on the previous slide about refinancing. We do not refinance ownership loans or the banks. If a farmer out there purchased some land with another lending institution, and they come to us, and this has happened even for me through the years, they say, look, I need that ownership loan refinance that I have. We don't do that. Okay. We don't refinance ownership, you know, and I can sort of understand our position with that. You know, we don't, and unfortunately, a lot of times, you know, and with us, our interest rates are a lot better than other lending institutions out there. But the government and with FSA, you know, we are in competition with other lending institutions. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be in competition with them. So for us to refinance other people's loans, you know, yeah, we don't want to do that, you know. So we don't refinance other ownership loans. And that's a basic overview of FSA farm programs and farm loans. You can go to www.fsa.usda.gov. That's the FSA Farm Service Agency website. And I will say that farmers.gov. You can go to either one. I think they're great. The FSA website, you can get information on Farm Service Agency programs. I hope I don't step out of bounds when I'm saying this, but that farmers.gov website, you can get everything. Other agencies information as well. Okay. I hope it's not stepping out of bounds, but that and oftentimes they will have links that would take you back and forth, especially with FSA programs. So you can, if you go on farmers.gov, they may have a link that may take you to the FSA website. Then you may have a link on the FSA website that'll take you to farmers.gov. Okay. So, but there's a lot of information that's available on those websites. And let me mention, backtrack a little bit on the farm loan side. I talked about eligibility, but I also want to mention feasibility. We want to be able to look at the individual to make sure they know what it is and about the operation that they are planning to have. And then that operation has got to be able to pay the loan back. You know, that's feasibility.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes, even with beginning farmers, they may have outside income, they may have jobs to assist in repaying the loan back, but that operation that they are proposing got to be able to pay the loan back, which is feasibility. So when we're looking at operating loans and ownership loans, we're looking at eligibility, we're looking at feasibility, those two things. And then there are other policies and procedures that we do have when you come into the office and talk to the farm loan officers about the farm loans. They'll give you more details. But that's the overview of FSA farm programs, FSA farm loans. This is my contact information here. This particular phone number is here at my desk in the Peach County office. I would definitely use that, my email address. Matter of fact, I say to the audience out there to reach out to me through their email first. And I do have the phone number there. You can reach out to me, which is local. My headquarters right now is still Athens in the state office, but right now I'm mainly working out of the Peach County office here in Fort Valley, Georgia. But that's the information. That email address, whether I'm in Athens or Fort Valley, you can reach me. But again, I'm glad to share this morning to give the audience an overview of FSA programs, FSA farm loans. There are many other programs out there. Right now, when you look at when there are appropriations that come out, and when those appropriations come out, funding come out, and when funding come out, we get new programs. And so now I will say with that farmers.gov, you can stay on top of everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then with the farm bill, we're gonna have those programs that we talked about today. We're gonna definitely have those. But glad to share this morning.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Neal. I mean, we're glad to have you on the workshop. And I think this is some very, very important information that farmers might not think existed. So I'm really glad that you spent some time with us this morning to highlight some of these programs. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.